Right everybody, welcome back to the United View channel. Welcome back to the What the Devil podcast. Today, Dylan, United District, I am here joined with Nick once again. And, you know, it's a new year. People are hoping for a new United side after four losses in a row towards the end of the year in December. But more importantly, welcome back to the transfer window. We're open once again. It's going to be a weird transfer window, I think. It's very much like a reactive thing. But what I want to talk about first is... before we kind of head into talking about how terrible we are as a team, is about who should we be looking at in the transfer window. So I told you yesterday, I said to you, right, can you think of maybe 3 players that United should sign in January? What did you come up with, Nick?
All right, this might be optimistic. We're starting positive. First of all, the most obvious position that needs addressing is left wing back. I think a lot of the criticism thrown at Dalot is harsh because I think it's just because he's playing in a position that he shouldn't be playing in at left wing back. But nonetheless, we need to bring someone in because Luke Shaw isn't reliable. Malacia realistically is a backup. He's not a starting left wing back in my opinion. So left wing back, there's 2 names. One of them is currently on the screen. And I think that the one on the screen is probably, in my opinion, the most obvious one. I don't watch PSG week in, week out. But when I have watched him, I've always liked what I saw. And also, I liked him in the Euros as well for Portugal. I really liked Nuno Mendes for Portugal as well. So he would be one of the first names that I look at. Kirkez is another one from Bournemouth as well. He
was good.
And we spoke about him. We spoke about him in the summer. So he's been in our thoughts for quite some time now. I really like him as well. And then Ain't Nuri. So I know that's three different players for the same position, but Ain't Nuri as well. Really good on the ball, technical, but my first choice for left wing back is probably not. I don't know. Is it realistic for January, Nuno Mendes?
Nuno Mendes specifically, I'm not sure, but it depends on. I think because I think the issue is he doesn't want to sign a new contract. I think PSG are kind of the case of we want you to sign a new deal, but if you can't, we're going to need to sell you before you lose value or don't play anything. So I think maybe if he forces it, that's possible. They think that would be possible if he says to PSG, "No, I'm leaving. You can't stop me. I'm not signing this new deal." Maybe PSG will go, "Okay, fine, you're going to go." Because they're a club that seem to just, if they want to get rid, they get rid.
I do wonder why he's so against signing a new contract.
Well, so apparently what they're offering him isn't like so. According to what the report said, is that it doesn't the wage package they've offered him doesn't reflect on his importance to the team. I think he's their starting left back. He starts basically every game for them now. At 22, starting left back for PSG, you've got to be pretty good.
And he's one of their better players.
He's
one of the more consistent players.
Yeah,
because they've got a lot of young players. I like they're really good players. Like if you look at Vitinho or say Gonzalo Ramos or a few. Barcola's been good. I'll give that. Barcola's been really good. I like the look of him. But apart from that, he is one of their more consistent players.
Yeah, and as I said, at the age of 22 as well. That's a lot of football, obviously, left in a player.
And as well, he would fix a lot of our problems right now.
And he knows Amorim.
That's a good point.
47 times he played under Amorim. So Amorim, just for those who don't know, Amorim gave him his debut at Sporting just before he turned 18. And then so he had the rest of that season, then he had one full season under Amorim, which was the 2020 to 21 season. Before he left PSG,
Yeah, second player to do so, Garte as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But Nuno Mendes for left wing back, that's one of my players
option
for sure. Yeah, have you got one for left wing back? Are you going similar?
I do.
I'm
really surprised you've not said it. Mine's Alvaro Fernandez, because it's
doable.
I'm going for realism.
Yeah, I get that.
Hilarity, because I've got 2 other players for the 2 other positions, which are not realistic. So I'm going for realism for this one. Nuno Mendes, I think, would be absolutely fantastic for us.
Yeah.
But I think maybe about 50 mil is what apparently, what's been said as to what PSG would ask for. That's a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And Alvaro Fernandez is 16 million.
Because of the buyback clause.
Yeah, because of the buyback clause, United can. That's active until 2026. So he's got £42 million release clause in his normal contract at Benfica. But for us until 2026, that's 16 million. Yeah. That's 30 million quid we wouldn't have to spend elsewhere. Especially going up to £35 million that we would save getting him rather than Mendes. And I feel at the moment, although there could be the argument that pay for Nunes because he's the better player, better future, whatever. I don't think United should necessarily be going for the top dogs right now. We just need people who will understand the Amorim system and players who will get that. So let's say Alvaro Fernandez. He's been playing as a left-back / wing-back at Benfica.
Yeah.
He's been great at United. Know him. He was Player of the Year at Preston on loan when he was here before. Ten Hag never want to play him for whatever reason. We don't know what that is. But he clearly is a great player. That's why United tried to sign him from why they signed him from Real Madrid back in 2020. And that's why he's been playing well everywhere else he's been and just
also,
never got a chance here.
If Benfica sign a young player, you know that player's
you know that player's
talented.
going to be pretty good. So the way I see it is all we need now are players who will just understand and raise the floor of Amorim's current team.
Yeah.
And although Mendes might be the better player, we don't have a load of cash.
We don't.
And so that extra 35 million can be put on a second player who might be coming in midfield, right? And then you've got two players who will understand Amorim's system versus one expensive one, which I think will benefit the team more.
I hear it. I did say it isn't a massively optimistic one. And to be fair, we saw with Agate in the summer that PSG won't let off easy. They were stubborn right to the very end with Agate, so they'll probably do the same with Nuno Mendes. I think as well, one of the reasons why I went with someone who's a bit more high profile, who's a bit more guaranteed to do well straight away is because when I look at Man United right now, the left wing back spot plus maybe a left 10 are the two positions, but I would still say left wing back more, where I go, oh my God, it's so glaringly obvious that we need to bring a player in.
It's a massive hole.
Left wing back is back, because Luke Shaw, forget about it. Like I just feel like I'm done with Luke Shaw at this point. I think he's going in the summer. We said before the show, he's probably going in the summer, so he's probably done for. Malacia, it's like, he's a good backup, and I think that's kind of what he will remain if he does stay at the club. I expect him to stay at the club, but that's as much as I see him go. I see him as a backup left wing back. So that's why I've gone with Nuno Mendes. But apart from that, also the left 10 spot we need to address as well.
Isn't it?
We need to address it.
Have you got anyone in mind?
I've got two players in mind, and this was my three players, right? I've got one player in mind who could be realistic because they're in crazy circumstances. And I've got one which is probably not realistic. Maybe for the summer it could be. The one that is a bit more realistic, Dani Olmo, quite simply because he can't play for Barcelona. So even if it's not a full sale, but we can actually just bring him on loan with an option to buy, if he would want to stay, maybe get him on a 6-month loan, because he would solve a lot of our problems. Because right now, no one has looked good so far in that level. Obviously Rashford's out the picture. Bruno Fernandes, it just doesn't work for him, in my opinion, in that left 10 role. Xerxes, it hasn't worked. Garnacho, and we're going to come on to Garnacho later as well, but Garnacho is like, Amorim doesn't seem to love him at the moment, so I can't see him sticking down that position. So the left 10 role, it could be and Dani Olmo has played in that position for Leipzig. He has played in that sort of inside left position. So Dani Olmo could work for sure, and he's maybe a bit more realistic. The unrealistic one, however, African Player of the Year, Europa League hat-trick, Ademola Lookman. I love him, I really, really like him. And the reason why as well I've gone for Lookman is because although he doesn't play a left 10 position, for the most part, he plays kind of like the left-sided striker of the two up front for Atalanta. They still play a 3 at the back, but they play like a 3-5-2 rather than 3-4-3. So although it's not maybe a straight natural position for him in terms of what he's been doing, I could still 100% see it working. Now, like I said, is it realistic in January? Probably not. We just spoke about Nuno Mendes and it being 50 million for him in January. Ademola Lookman, you're probably looking maybe a bit more than 50 million, considering he has just won African Player of the Year. He was crucial in their Europa League win, and he's just an absolute baller. I love the look of him. So Ademola Lookman would be the unrealistic option. Dani Olmo, however, would be probably a bit more realistic simply because of the Barcelona situation. Those are my other two that I would go for. But,
fair enough.
Yeah.
That two players I haven't even considered remotely.
Really?
Actually, yeah. They haven't crossed my mind.
Dani Olmo, I just thought made sense. I just thought someone's got to try get him, because he's not going to be playing any football as it stands.
Even at least try.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 days left on their the registration deadline or something.
And I think it got rejected already.
Something's been rejected, but it's Barcelona, man. They come up with the weirdest solution.
They do.
We saw with the whole De Jong thing, they somehow came up with a way to keep him.
But Barca have got nothing to lose. They can't play him. Dani Olmo's got nothing to lose. we would just have to cover his wages if we get him on loan. So yeah, that was mine.
I think one of my other ones that I want us to see us sign, this is a little less realistic, but it's possible with sales, is Osimhen.
Ooh, I like it.
I know. So we are going to sign a striker. I feel like this is like
in January.
This is a given. No, just at some point in 2025, January or the summer. It's a given. United are going to sign a striker, and I reckon it'll be a someone who will push to start or will start over kind of, because we don't know what's going to happen with Xerxes in the future. We don't know if he's going to stay or if he's going to go. Yeah. Højlund we know will stay, but can't just be like the only player we're playing. And I think out of all the options that exist, I say all the options, there aren't many. One of them is Victor Gyökeres, who's on the screen. But the option that I think is most intriguing is Osimhen, because I've always really, really liked him. Gyökeres I heard of as of the beginning of this season because he's just been banging goals in left, right and centre.
62 goals in 2024.
Which is nuts. It's absolutely crazy.
Nuts.
But I've liked Osimhen for a while.
Yeah, he's been good
ever since he was at Lille.
At
Lille he was amazing. He then moved to Napoli. He's still amazing. He's part of their team that won the Serie A.
Bro, after 30 years, something crazy.
Yeah, something like he can help carry that team on his back, and it's the type of goals he scores, the type of goals that I think we basically never ever score.
As in, like, in the box, one-touch finish.
One-touch finish, and even just, like, outrageous, inventive goals, like the way he can, like, leap-head the ball, he'll head the ball into the ground to bounce up over a goalkeeper and stuff. And he just seems like a weapon in that box. Yeah. And counter to a lot of what United fans are talking about at the moment, I don't think we're that bad creatively. I think at the moment we are, but I don't think that I don't see that as because we lack players necessarily who can be creative when they're good. I just think at the moment that our whole team's a mess, so therefore we're not creating chances.
Yeah. I think we've been creating more chances definitely this season than we were last season, for example.
We've been shocking this season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, last season was tragic. I genuinely think the left wing back thing, I know we've just spoken about it, that solves a lot. Because
it really does, because it gives us balance.
If you can just get crosses in, because the amount of times Dalot gets the ball high and wide on the left wing and he can't do anything with it because he hasn't got a whip on his left foot. His whip on his right foot is decent, I think underrated a little bit, but it's not amazing. So never mind his left foot, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then he cuts in, but he's not really allowed to go inside. I think Amorim, that's a bit of an instruction that the left wing back so far, I haven't seen Malacia do it or Luke Shaw do it. They don't really go inside too much. So when you're in that wide channel, someone to just get forward, get high and wide and get crosses in, that changes a lot for us. Osimhen, though, that is a great shout, to be fair.
I think because as well, there's a release clause.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. I think it's 63.
That's not too bad. For the player you're getting.
He was meant to go for 90 in the summer.
That is not bad at
all. So as far as what I have read, is there's an agreement in his loan with Galatasaray that should someone activate a January buy clause of, I think it's either 63 or 68, they can recall him from Galatasaray, no questions asked, and he'll go straight to whoever has signed him.
Like the Weghorst one.
A bit like that when he was
Burnley and Besiktas.
Yeah. But because I really like him. I think he's a proper, so we were saying before recording, like the striker I want is a bully striker. I think he's like that.
Yeah,
an old, an Everton Lukaku-esque striker. I love that type of striker.
Leaner, but he's tall,
lean, powerful, strong, and will just bully his way through a team. Which I think, Højlund can be, but we're not using him right, and that's a whole other thing. But the last player I was going to talk about, this is maybe a slightly more realistic striker option, or maybe even not. It's just a bit of a curveball because I really like him, but it's Liam Delap.
You know what? I
really like Liam Delap.
Yeah. He's been excellent.
Partly because he's in my FPL and he's been bagging me guys. But I was watching him against us. Again, the same kind of striker, but he's a very much a get in the box and finish from close range striker, but also fairly inventive and really good with his feet.
Really good with his feet.
I really
Did you watch
like
him against Chelsea, or just see bits of him against Chelsea?
Yeah, I saw some highlights.
Even the assist that he got for Hutchinson, really good, just smart, intelligent player. Something that Højlund currently lacks is that ability to bring other players around him into the game, and Delap can do that really well. Osimhen, not sure that's a strength of his game. I would say Delap probably does that side of the game better. Osimhen probably a better finisher, more natural goal scorer. But I do like the Delap shout. It is a good shout. It's just that January we probably can't.
This is what I mean. Like we're saying, players to sign in Jan. Realistically,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're signing anybody in January.
Yeah, literally.
But this is working off the assumption that we're able to ship off a few players. Like Casemiro to Saudi Arabia, we don't know what's going on with that. And also, there's Saudi Arabia have the limits thing. They have to sell to buy, but also at the end of the day, they do want to bring in high-profile names. Casemiro might be one of them. Don't know how Fabinho's getting on there, but
yeah. But also on that note is that if you get rid of Rashford, all right. First of all, you're massive. I mean, it depends if you get him on a loan and then how much the wages are we covering, etc. But still, that would be a significant amount of money that we're now not spending. And also, if you get rid of Rashford, let's have it right. He is still one of our best players, especially in our attacking line, which has been really, really poor. He's still one of our best players. You have to replace him. We can't get rid of Rashford and not bring anyone in.
Especially because he probably might not be the only attacker we get rid of if Anthony goes.
Exactly. And as well, I'm sorry, all right, Ahmad's good. He's been good. Højlund has his moments, but he's inconsistent. Apart from that, we stink right now.
Yeah, we
stink right now. Attackers. I would have some hope in Garnacho because he's proven to us over the last 2 years that he can produce numbers, but he's produced numbers as a left or right winger. We've never seen him produce numbers as a number 10. So even someone like Garnacho, who you can look at and say, okay, well, in the last few years, he's got, 10 goals or something like that. Even then, you're looking at Garnacho thinking, I mean, has he scored for Amorim?
Yeah, he scored the against Bodo, I think it was.
Right.
He scored a tap in from open play.
Okay.
So,
When Højlund pressed. Okay, fine.
I think that's his only goal.
But that's my point. Even when we were stinky under Erik ten Hag, Garnacho was still putting up numbers. He's not going to be putting up numbers anymore. So point being is that if you get rid of Rashford, you have to bring someone in. I feel like we ain't got another option. We stink right now. We actually stink. But yeah, Osimhen, I do like Osimhen.
He's I think the most available high-profile player that we could actually go. I don't see anyone else because most other clubs will wait until the summer. They're not as desperate we are.
He's in a Rashford situation. Ooh, imagine this one. Listen to this. Yeah, listen to this. So yeah.
A little bit.
Because right, so Conte plays a 3-4-3 like we do, but he plays wide wingers. Marcus Rashford is a wide winger. In Italy, Serie A, he could work.
You never know.
A little switcheroo, you know what I mean? That could work quite nicely.
It's not a bad idea. Put in a bit of Rashford plus 10 or something. Because I think we value Rashford about 40.
Oh, is it? Well, yeah,
I don't think Napoli would be happy to just do a straight.
No,
I hear that. Have to give a little bit of cash.
I do hear that.
But
I do hear that.
You know what? I do.
I
understand that. I understand that.
Also, as well, before we go, because he's on screen as well, Brian Mbeumo.
Yeah.
I mean, again, not realistic in January, but what a player he would be for us.
Him and Cunha, two players. Yes. Well, I look at these and go, these guys are perfect Amorim 10s. Yeah. They both are.
Yeah.
Because they can both score, they can both assist, and they're both versatile. I was looking at Mbeumo's stats this morning, and it's like. He's got 32 goals and 24 assists or something for Brentford. It's like he can score as much as he can assist.
And Tony's left, who we viewed as sort of like a Brentford's talisman or whatever, but Mbeumo stepped up, no problems, no questions asked. Yeah.
I didn't realise he was 25.
Yeah, you know what?
I thought he was 30.
Yeah, it's the hair. And you know what as well? Another thing on Brian Mbeumo, if Mbeumo had a nice hairline, he would be rated by a lot more fans than he is.
100%.
But he's just not taken seriously because the hairline's lacking. He needs to go Turkey. But he's another quality signing as well.
He's him or Cunha, I would love. Yeah, I'd absolutely love if we signed over. Cunha obviously a bit of a hothead and does blow hot and cold occasionally. Yeah, but when he's good, he's good.
He cooked us.
Yeah.
He cooked us.
It was.
And as well, he's got 10 goals this season. And I think that only Salah, Haaland and Isak have got more than him. Or maybe Chris Wood as well. But still, point being is that he's amongst the very top of the goal scorers in the Premier League this season at Wolves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
At 17th place, Gary O'Neill's just left.
Do you know what I mean?
Team Wolves.
Everyone else that I've just mentioned, Haaland, City, Liverpool, Salah, Chris Wood, obviously Nottingham Forest doing really well. Isak, Newcastle doing really well. And then he got Wolves. Yeah. And he's bagged 10 goals for Wolves.
No, so, he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, and Mbeumo. Because he's got 9, I think, in the Premier League this season. So
yeah, 9 or 10.
Yeah, both of those two would be serious signings.
I'm talking about FPL again, but he was 55% ownership on FPL, which if you're really highly well owned,
it means you're
not a top 6 player, but it means you're a good player.
Yeah.
It really does.
100%.
But 100%. Going from players who are playing really well to players who are playing quite badly, we've spoken about Garnacho a bit, and I want to talk a little bit more about where does he lie? Where does he sit at United at the minute? Because his best positions, just like Rashford, are the two places that we just don't have anymore. Yeah. We don't have space for wingers anymore. Yeah. And it's a bit of a... So there are some reports saying that he's valued at 50, 60 mil. I think that's an independent valuation rather than what United would ask for. I personally wouldn't want to see him go.
I wouldn't.
But as well, I'm disappointed in him, not just performances wise, but it feels like
heads dropped.
There's just a bit of a vibe of get your head out your arse.
Feel sorry for yourself.
Slightly. Yeah, like you're playing badly, we're playing badly, and he needs to step up, but he also needs to, I think, take a step back and reevaluate where he actually is at the moment, because he's not anywhere near this first team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one thing I'll say about Garnacho really quickly is I liked how when Xerxes was walking back to the bench, he was trying to get the fans to cheer for him. That's a nice sign. I think with Garnacho, listen, he did quite literally burst onto the scene. Like that first Erik ten Hag season, the goal against Fulham, the assist for Rashford against Man City, like he was one of the hottest young prospects coming into Man United, and also you're coming into Man United. Whether we sit here right now and gas him up, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, Man United is a big club. When you burst onto the scene at Man United as a young winger, you're going to get a lot of Instagram followers, you're going to get a lot of hype, everyone's going to be talking about you, and naturally, those kind of things are going to get in your head, and you're going to view yourself as a higher profile player, etc. So he's hurt right now, and you can see it. Like you just said, he looks like a player who feels sorry for himself. I agree, and he needs to snap out of that, because there is no place for that under this Ruben Amorim team. Was it Andy Mitten who called Amorim a smiling assassin? Yeah. And I think that's a great way to describe Amorim, is that he will be nice, and we've seen in press conferences, he talks quite well about all the players, even the ones that are out of favour, but if you're not good enough, he'll get rid of you. We're seeing that with Rashford. If Garnacho doesn't pick things up, that will happen with Garnacho as well. I think the one thing I will say about Garnacho is that we've seen at Sporting that players like Trincao and players like Edwards, two players who I think I would put in a very similar mold and profile to Garnacho, have succeeded and done well under Ruben Amorim. So I don't think that it's completely out of the question that Garnacho can do well for Amorim. I think it's up to Garnacho whether he is going to be coachable to become a number 10. Because it's not, all right, it is different. Of course, you're not high, you're not as wide, you're not running at your man 1v1, but you still operate in some of the similar areas. You can still have the ability to drift out, come back inside, have a shot on goal. So it's not going to be completely alien to him. It's down to him how much he wants to learn the position and how much he wants to accept that he's not a guaranteed first starter anymore. And that's going to be tough to take for him, because he's, like I said, he burst onto the scene, he views himself in a certain way, and he's no longer that.
Last season, he started 37 games in a row.
Exactly. And he's not that anymore. And he's not that. And as well, a lot of it comes down to what Amorim wants, how Amorim views him. Because what Amorim said about the Rashford stuff was very telling, because he said it's not just about how he plays on the pitch, but it's about how he conducts himself, how he speaks to everyone, his energy, basically saying how he is as a person. Yeah. Garnacho needs to listen to that and take note. And I don't think Garnacho is a bad kid, by the way. Like, I don't think he's the kind of kid to have bad influence in the dressing room, but I think he can be easily influenced by bad people. So I think, for example, I don't think Garnacho should be looking at how Rashford has been conducting himself and try following that way. I don't think that would be good for Garnacho. Yeah. So a lot of it comes down to how he sees the challenge. Does he really want to go for it? Is he, like I said, going to be coachable and adaptable to change? And then we see. I don't want to see him go though. I really like the kid.
Neither do I. I always have a I think it's the same for most United fans. Is you just have a natural affinity more for the players who come through the academy than you do for players who are signed, 100%. Or at least maybe young players. So even so I would be willing to give Højlund a fair amount of slack if he's not playing well. Yeah. Just because he's young. Yeah, and I feel just naturally, I want to see players grow. I love, because I buy into storylines all the time. I love the storylines of footballers. It's just so much better when a team has a storyline of struggle to triumph. Yeah. We
romanticise football all the time.
Yeah, well, because football, at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and I want to be entertained. Yeah. And stuff like that entertains me. Yeah. And Garnacho's rise and everything has been so entertaining. From watching him score a brace in the Youth FA Cup final, one of the penalty to do with the whole Ronaldo celebration thing, to then coming into the first team, playing by the age of 18 with both Messi in national team and Ronaldo at club level. And now he's got a whole new situation to navigate. And I think if he was to stay at the club and if he does what you said, he'll come through it a better player. No player has gone from, maybe apart from Messi, has gone, I'm really good from 17, 18 years old, and I'm going to keep being really good and just play all my life until I retire.
There'll be peaks and troughs.
Like Messi, for example, like he's maybe one of the only players. And even then, like obviously Barcelona ups and downs, and he had to leave Barcelona and stuff didn't work out at PSG and whatever. But yeah, like I feel like he'll be better for it. I think he should stay, and I think his career will be better off if he does stay.
Yeah.
But he really does need to fix up and pull his head out his arse and go, I need to start from scratch. Everyone started from scratch. The club has started from scratch, like to the point where we have new owners and everything. The whole board and new people. The whole team's going to reset. There's a new manager, new training schedules, new formation. Like everything is reset. He must reset with it and build from zero, basically, and become. Actually, that's the point I was going to ask you. So you just mentioned the 10. Do you think that's the only place he has a future at the club is if he plays as one of those 10s?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think. I mean, look, if a certain game demands it, like how we saw with Ahmad, and then you can kind of the 3-4-3 kind of skews to the point where Ahmad is almost a right winger and the left wing back kind of cuts in a little bit and it almost looks like a 4 at the back. Maybe that could happen with Garnacho as well, where it skews the other way. The right wing back drops a little bit and Garnacho goes up a little bit and he's almost a winger. There might be a game, or like if you come up against an opposition where you're really not expecting them to have much possession at all, maybe that could work. But it's not something that can be relied on to happen on a consistent basis. I don't think he's got the defensive capabilities. I think he works hard, to be fair to him. I don't think I've ever questioned his work ethic. He runs his socks off for the most part. So there was a few moments like the Casemiro one where Casemiro drew him out against Chelsea, basically saying, "Why didn't you track back? I've got a yellow card because you didn't run back." Oh, yeah, there might be some moments.
I reckon that can be chalked down to more lack of experience and everything than
100%.
Yeah,
100%. So he works hard, but he doesn't really have the physical capabilities and defensive capabilities. Like for example, Ahmad. I know he's a lot smaller, but he can get in and about it. He can kind of get his body in front of someone else's body, win a foul. He's not necessarily the strongest, but he's quite smart. He's got that low center of gravity to help him in defensive scenarios. Garnacho hasn't quite got that. So I can more or less only see him working as a 10, to be honest with you.
Fair.
But also,
I think you are right.
Yeah, and also I will say though, I do think he will come good. I do think Garnacho will come good because I think, first of all, like I said, I think he's a good kid. But also I think that Lisandro Martinez will be a good influence on him. Obviously, they have the Argentinian connection there. Kobbie Mainoo is one of his closest friends. He's a real, we know Kobbie Mainoo's got a good head on his shoulders. Same with Ahmad, who again, I think they're boys and they're close. So I think that with the influences that he has around him, with Amorim coming in and being quite a hipster, young manager who understands young players, I think he will be fine. I genuinely do. He's not in the same boat as Rashford for me. He'll come
and also
good
when Amorim was talking about Rashford and he was talking about the entourage and stuff and he was asked about the interview, he was like, he knows that some players have people around them making decisions for them, and that could easily be something that Amorim's therefore aware of with Garnacho and will just advise Garnacho and go, 100%. Maybe don't, because obviously there has been that whole thing with his brother and potentially being involved in the team leaks and everything, but we don't know what's happened, so I'm not going to comment too much on it. Yeah. But he will get advice, and hopefully there'll be people at the club as well who will maybe point to Rashford and go, look what's happening. You don't want that to be you. So therefore, maybe just trust in Amorim, trust in a couple close family members like your dad or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. But
and it's also a good sign that he's a family man. Like I know, like it's always quite crazy that he's got kids, that he's so young.
He's got a kid and a dog and a
If you see like his Christmas pictures, he's all by the tree with the family, all matching pajamas. So I think obviously like that's the kind of thing that Sir Alex Ferguson used to love. He used to love when a player has a family, because then you just don't lead into more trouble, like the whole Belfast thing with Rashford, for example. That might not happen to someone who is a family man, like Garnacho.
Like he's a good. I think he is a good kid at the end of the day.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think the discourse around him at the moment is just. It's just a way for people to start venting rather than actual anger towards him. Yeah. And I think he'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, 100%.
But we're not fine at the moment as a club, and we're coming up against Liverpool. And I don't think I've ever been as sad to go, right guys, what's next?
Liverpool.
How the fuck do we do this? Like, it's just, we've lost 4 in a row.
Yes.
And then the next game is Liverpool, and then the one after that is Arsenal.
Fun.
And they're both away from home, and they're 2 of the best teams in the country at the moment.
They are the 2 best teams.
Yeah, or just, yeah.
Quite factually, they're the 2 best teams.
In the country, and we've got to play them both away from home.
Oh.
And if we had these games a month ago, I would be a bit
Feel
like,
better.
there's something we can do here.
Yeah.
But after just being so thoroughly and systematically destroyed by upper mid-table teams,
And
we sit in
Wolves.
14th,
And
Wolves in
Wolves.
17th as well, who completely outplayed us.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know where to start.
I don't know ever. I don't know. I saw a picture on Instagram today, and it was like how we should line up against Liverpool, and it was like 6 defenders, all midfielders ahead of them, 1 striker and 2 goalkeepers. And I was like, yeah, that feels about right.
But even with that, is when we've played with 5 defenders, we've not scored.
No. I know.
It's weird.
We can't. In my opinion, we can't. I don't think, and we can't turn up to Anfield and go, right, we're going to just sit back, soak it all up, and walk out of here with a 0-0 draw. If we do that, we'll lose 3-4-0. That's what I think. I think we have to give Liverpool something to think about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there was the game, when was it? It was against City, I think it was, and it was Eric Ten Hag was basically playing Scott McTominay and Bruno Fernandes as basically 2 10s rather than having a striker, which I understood, but the problem with that was that there was no one keeping the line high, there was no one keeping the centre-backs occupied, so Man City just came closer and closer and closer and compressed us to the point where we gave in and we conceded goals. I think we'll see something similar. Like, look at Liverpool right now. We're not going to keep a clean sheet. No. And, like, if we sit back and just say, come at us, they'll score. And once they score one, it will happen like it always does. Our heads will go, because we're fragile players for whatever reason. Heads will go, we'll concede another, and it will be a mess. So, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know where to start. Like, even trying to work out the team sheet, I don't know. But we have to give them something to think about. There has to be a threat.
I do think, even if it's just for this game or the next 2 games, is move Ahmad back to right wing back.
Yeah.
Or have Anthony a right wing back. Just someone who's an attack first player. Because like you said, as what we've seen is that when we have an attacker at wing back, we do that kind of, we do the shift over where it becomes. So let's say Mazraoui starts at right centre back. Shift over, Ahmad goes forward, Mazraoui becomes right back, and he is a right back naturally anyway.
So it's fine.
And then if we've got left wing back, let's say it's Dallo or Malacia or whatever, they then slip back to a left back, and we've then got a right back, centre back, left back as a back 4 when Ahmad's up, and then they just shift back again. I think it gives the side more tactical flexibility, and just gives us a bit more of an edge. It's not something I want to see long term. I think long term I want to see Ahmad, as that right number 10. And we're missing a left number 10. And even when Bruno Fernandes is playing that, like against Spurs, if Bruno Fernandes was a bit quicker, we'd have scored a couple goals against Spurs earlier on when we lost 4-3 to them.
Yeah.
What was it?
But you talking about Bruno?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruno in the left 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
he had so many opportunities. Him and Dallo.
Yeah, but they couldn't
they
couldn't
so
beat their man
awkward.
because then they're just not quick enough.
Yeah.
But I feel like even it's just for those 2 games. Like, so when Ahmad came on against Arsenal at half time, I remember Ian Wright saying he was shit scared because Ahmad completely changed that game for us, and we became much more attacking threat purely because we had because it's just overloading an extra man in the attack as well, gives another pair of feet to pass to. If let's say Cobby's got the ball in the middle and he's got 4 players in front of him instead of 3 or just 2. It gives, as you say, it gives everyone something to think about. And if we concede that we're going to concede, because Mo Salah is going to score or assist, it's kind of what he does these days. It's a complete given.
It's so sad.
And I do reckon it's side point. I think we're seeing an all-time form here.
We're seeing an all-time great. Like
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to concede 1. We're going to concede maybe 2. So we have to. I would rather we go there and try and do something and then lose 3-1 than sit back and get beaten 2-0 so convincing. Like the 2-0 against Newcastle, that was a convincing 2-0 loss. right? I know we had our chances and we had a couple of moments. Casemiro missed some stuff and blah, blah, blah. But like that was such a convincing 2-0 loss. And I'd rather see us lose 3-1 trying to win 4-3. Just short term, I know this is a thing that's happened at Spurs that they think overall, and that's not a long term thing, but it's just these 2 games.
Yeah.
Because if we lose those 2 games, it's 6 in a row.
But
I know it will be.
I hate saying I'm about to say it, and I can't quite fathom in my brain how we are this down bad. I don't think I've been here in my life as a Man United fan ever. Like even on the Ole when it was bad, and like it's so bad. It's so bad.
What I compare it to is that 2015 run under Van Gaal. When we like drew 7 out of 8 games, but even then we were drawing, not losing.
No, that's what I mean. It's not even that bad. It's not. First of all, it's not that bad. First of all, because we had just won the Premier League 2 years prior, so it was still like, all right, cool. We're still Man United. You know what I mean? Like we did just win the Premier League. Like get off our back, yeah. But we're 11 years since that point now. We have not mounted a single title challenge apart from a few months on the Ole. When was it? I think it was 2021 or 2020. 2021, I think.
When we were like top in Jan.
Yeah. There was like 2 months where we were like, oh my God, are we going to do something? And we didn't do anything. So like, I can't see anything other than a loss against Liverpool. I can't see anything other than a loss against Arsenal. I think what you just said was a very valid point though. I would rather see us go for it and lose anyway.
Yeah.
Than sit back and just have a depressing game where there's simply no positives. Like against Arsenal, like in the second half we went for it, but in the first half it was a dire watch. It was just a constant wave of Arsenal attack and Arsenal corner. It killed us. So yeah, I'm at right wing back could be good. And then who would you play? So would you play Bruno in the 10? Would you want to see him as
I would
an 8?
still play Bruno in the 10. I prefer Bruno at right 10 than left 10. Because let's say we play Ahmad at right wing back.
Yeah.
We then got Ahmad at right wing back and Bruno in the right 10. So we still have at least someone, because Bruno, as we said before, he's less dynamic now than he used to be.
Yeah.
If we then have Ahmad at right wing back, we at least have someone dynamic on that side. And the left, I don't fucking know what to do on the left hand side.
Is this the game for Garnacho?
It might be. Even just a case of just try and hit him on the break.
Yeah, but okay, so this is what I was just thinking about, right? So you just brought that point up. I was thinking about how, like in the past we've gone to Anfield and gone to Etihad, etc. We've soaked up pressure and try to hit him on the counter. I don't think Amorim will want to do that because like.
But that's how we beat City 4-1. They were like that against City.
Yeah,
I think he appreciates it when it's needed,
but have we done that so far?
No, because we can't play football.
No, I know. but even against Arsenal, for example, I felt that when we did pick up possession, even when it was a moment where Arsenal might have been somewhat vulnerable, they're not vulnerable often, but when they were maybe a little bit, we didn't try to go long. We didn't try to counter. We tried to progressively go up the pitch as a team, which is how he wants to play. Fair enough. But to memory, I can't remember us ever going into a game and thinking, oh yeah, we're trying to hit him on the counter. Which is also why Garnacho isn't getting a look in, Rashford isn't getting a look in, because he's not playing like that. Do you know what I mean? Like everything is to feet, everything is combination play, getting up the pitch together. So I can't even imagine us trying to counter them. I think he will stick to his guns, which again is fair enough. If that's how he wants to play, that's how he should play. And there's been question marks over, should he change his style of play or during this period where we've been really bad and he's not going to do it. And I agree with that. But us trying to progressively build up and hurt Liverpool at Anfield like that, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
Normally I ask for score protection, but I'm actually not going to ask this. All I'm going to say is I think we just got to sit back and wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
We know what will probably happen, but I think we just got to wait and see what happens. But if you guys in the comments have any ideas about how you would want to see us play against Liverpool, who you would like to see sign in January, what do you think about Garnacho? Does he have a future here? What can he do best? What can he change in order to get back into the team? Please do leave a comment below. Apart from that, make sure you subscribe, check out Nick on socials, check out United District on socials as well, and we'll see you next week.